Hi guys, welcome back to What's Streamin'. This is episode 7. 7 weeks, not straight, but 7 weeks full of content from us. That's beautiful. I'm joined here again by the one and only Josh. How you doing, Josh?
Hello, mate. I'm really good in it.
Yeah, that. Today is something a little bit more laid back. It's not going to be as structured. We're just gonna kind of talk about the MCU, our experiences with it, thoughts on stuff if we feel like it, theories, things we'd want, castings, who knows.
Oh,
But to kind of kick it off, to give a little bit of backstory about myself for anybody listening. I have been an avid Marvel fan for years. I'm 21 now, and I've been engrossed in the Marvel universe since I was 4. I luckily was able to pick up reading and comprehension at a younger age. So my introduction to reading and learning how to comprehend things was actually comic books, and it happened to just be Marvel comic books because I loved the X-Men movies when I was little. That was my introduction to Marvel, was the OG X-Men trilogy alongside Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So the first thing I did whenever I realized I could understand stories was to pick up comic books and start reading them. And it's always been Marvel. I still read Marvel comics to this day, and it's been a beautiful journey. But the journey with Marvel Studios started in 2008, or was it 2008, right?
2008, yeah.
Yeah. At that point, I want to say I probably had like two cardboard boxes full of comics and their little bags. And Iron Man was coming out, and I was really, really excited because, when being around all the kids when I was younger, it was like Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk, right? That was Marvel's big three at the time. That was plastered on all merchandising, and it was all the same. I forgot the artist's name, but it was all by the same artist, and people will recognize those kind of designs when they see them because they're very shadow heavy, and a lot of people still have the big sprawling Marvel poster with all the characters by that artist. And that was Marvel's big three at the time. But a lot of people didn't know about Iron Man. So when I go to school and I'd be like, "Oh, you see, they're doing an Iron Man movie." Everybody'd be like, "Who's Iron Man? Is Spider-Man going to be in it?" Be like, "I don't think so, but that'd be cool." Uh, so yeah, I went and saw Iron Man opening weekend with my dad, and that kickstarted what I didn't know would turn into what we have now, which is absolutely mind-boggling. I was already mind blown that we were getting live action Iron Man in the first place, but to see it turn into this, the biggest film franchise in the history of cinema, is pretty crazy. Because for years and years of reading, I never would have thought we'd see the characters that we've seen in live action and on screen. And I remember thinking back when the first Avengers movie was coming out, I was like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, we're going to get to see this happen on camera. And now it's at a point where it's like anything, anything is possible. And I feel blessed, and I'm always thankful for Marvel Studios, because there's a lot of people out there who have the same experience as me when it comes to Marvel, and starting with the comics way before the MCU was even a thing. And I'm thankful that I live in a time period where I can see these things play out. Like, I've grown up with Marvel Studios. It has been such a big pillar of my life almost. It's now like it's now a tradition that I make sure I see any Marvel movie opening night. I have not missed an opening night Marvel movie since Winter Soldier, I think. I didn't see Winter Soldier opening night. So it's been a while. It's been quite a while since I've missed any of that. But Marvel Studios as a whole has pushed me to the point where I am now. I don't think I'd be with Streamer, even in the film press industry, if it wasn't for Marvel Studios, which helped kickstart my love of films in general. and push me to look far and wide for the best films, TV shows possible.
I think for me, my I think I that well maybe mine is the comics because we all know I how much I read comics.
Oh, I mean, dude, I've never seen anybody read more comics than you. I mean,
I
it's all
know
day, every day.
it
If it's
is.
not in your hands, right, and say you're on the bus or you're on the train, right, on your phone.
It's
It's on
I've
the
not got a
phone.
comic right now. It's I'm shaking. I've got the shakes. For me, obviously, I was brought up on watching the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films and the X-Men films, just like you said. And a lot of it I owe to my mum. My mum absolutely loved those X-Men films,
Yeah.
and obviously she introduced me to them. And I can't remember exactly what the first film I saw in cinemas was because I think a lot of the earlier MCU stuff we watched on DVD.
Mm.
And it wasn't until about Thor, the Avengers, where it became like a must that we went to the cinema. Because it was sort of like a family thing as well. Now it's very much it's a shame really because she'll only watch the films. She she won't watch anything on Disney Plus, and I think it's wild. But yeah, so the first film of the MCU, obviously, I saw Iron Man in cinemas, and then there's a few gaps in the middle, but it is down to I think without those X-Men films, especially, I think that's where my interest for these comic book films and these stories came to life. So yeah, um, I think as well. I always love mentioning this about 2013 was when I became really invested. I think Agents of Shield was just starting at the time.
Yeah.
And the Sony Spider-Man universe was at a stage where they were talking about developing their own cinematic universe. So that was another thing to be excited about. So I was watching a lot more YouTube and discovering about all these other stories that Marvel could be adapting.
Yeah.
And YouTube was like Emergency Awesome,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Seven Webheads. It was all I watched. About being 12, 13. And from then every bit of Marvel I've eaten up. So yeah.
Yeah. No. My mom actually still to this day prefers to watch the X-Men movies over the MCU movies. My mom really likes those movies. I remember back when X3 came out, Last Stand. My grandma had a friend who worked at Burger King, and she went up to Burger King and she had her friend give her a bag full of one of each toy that was in the set for the promotion, and it was the best day of my life. And my favorite was always the Nightcrawler uh toy, because he's always been my favorite. But actually, where's it at? Speaking of favorites, I'm not pulling out the one you think this time.
Here's one I made earlier. Oh,
Yeah, you can't see it very well. It's a Daredevil comic. Um, Daredevil, first of all, Daredevil. From the beginning of my relationship with comics, Daredevil has always been kind of the one that I've related to, and he's always been my favorite. I grew up an Irish Catholic boy, and Matt Murdock also happens to be an Irish Catholic boy. One main difference about us, though, I can see. I can see he cannot through his eyes, but he can see better than I can somehow. But Daredevil in general, and I'll get to the point of talking about the Netflix show and how he involves in the MCU. But Daredevil as a whole, I think is one of the most interesting Marvel characters that's ever existed, because purely on the fact that he lives on a no kill rule, but he's killed people. And it's not the same no kill rule of like that Batman has or that Spider-Man has, right? Um, because those people have not killed people. Daredevil has a no kill rule because he has killed people, especially in his younger days before he fully donned Daredevil. When he was training with his master stick, he accidentally killed some people in the middle of a fight. So he realizes the danger, and I will defend it till the day I die. A character that has a no kill rule versus a character that does kill will always be more interesting and complex. Uh, Shout out the scene in Daredevil season 2 between the rooftop scene with him and the Punisher. You know which one I'm talking about, Josh?
Oh yeah, I know the one.
Don't tell me. Did you have not seen the Daredevil show?
I've seen like half of season one. I have
Oh
been
my
I've been
god.
ridiculed
You
by
should be.
I I will watch it eventually.
Please. Even if it ends up not being canon, you still gotta watch
See,
it.
I think that's what put me off watching it. So yeah.
It does it's just such it's a one of the best superhero stories put on film television altogether. But
If
it was
if I watch Daredevil, do I have to watch all the others or
no.
okay?
I mean, maybe season 3, you could maybe catch up on the Defenders, but even at the beginning of season 3, they kind of give you not a recap, but kind of do a little flashback of where Matt's at that point in time, because Defenders takes place between season 2 and 3.
Okay.
But no, the basis of the rooftop scene is the punish. Daredevil goes after the Punisher because he's just appeared and he's starting to kill a bunch of bad guys, and Daredevil's like, you can't be killing people like that. So like Punisher gets him chained up, and they just have this yelling argument about whether it's okay to kill these people or not. And it's really, really beautiful. And there's a quote from it that I think the Punisher says that always stuck with me. And he Daredevil's pretty much just telling him like, you can't, like, you're just as bad as them if you continue to do this. Like there's still a glimmer, like even if there's a 0.01% chance that these people would turn heel or just flip and do the right thing finally, you have to give them that chance. You can't take that chance away from them. And the Punisher rebuttals and pretty much says, the difference between you and me is you hit them and they get back up. Or I'm messing it up now.
With great power
With great
comes
power comes something afterwards. But he says whatever Daredevil does, and then he goes, but I hit them and they stay down. And I think that's super duper beautiful, especially when talking about the drastic differences between someone like the Punisher and Daredevil. And yeah. Speaking of the show, one of the best adaptations ever of a comic book character. It doesn't grab really hard at a bunch of the comic storylines to where like it's almost a one-to-one adaptation. There's a lot of inspiration. They bring in like a bunch of the characters, obviously, but um, seeing Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio be able to return in the MCU as these characters is amazing, absolutely amazing. These people were born to play these characters. There will never be another Daredevil like Charlie Cox. There will never be another Kingpin like Vincent D'Onofrio, even though we got the dumbest reveal of the Kingpin, I think. For someone of a character of that level, they're just like bad picture. Kingpin was just like just standing there.
oh with I can't remember her name, but yeah, Kate's mum,
Eleanor,
Eleanor, yeah,
Bishop.
Eleanor Bishop, yeah.
Yeah, no, like it was so goofy, but I mean, I'm happy about it because we're getting Vincent D'Onofrio in Echo, we're getting him in Daredevil Born Again, and we're getting Charlie in Echo, and obviously Charlie in Daredevil Born Again.
I think it's from a when there's been so many characters that have been recast from different. I'll use the word universes lightly because we still don't know if Marvel is planning on keeping the history of these actors portrayal of the characters.
Yeah.
It is such an interesting choice to keep the Netflix characters the same, because I fully believe there will not be a single returning X-Men actor.
Oh no. I mean,
Obviously
well,
excluding
we got the one already.
yeah,
And then I think it's pretty likely that maybe in Secret Wars we could see a Hugh Jackman.
yeah.
I feel like a
I
Hugh
don't think it's out of
Jackman
the question.
cameo. I feel like a Hugh Jackman cameo at this point is more likely than not for something in the multiverse, but I wouldn't want it to be anything more than a he's here, he's gone.
Yeah,
Something like that. But yeah, I don't see and those actors and actresses I think played their parts well
yeah.
in the X-Men franchise, but I don't see any of them returning. The only person I would really like to see return is I forgot his name, but he played young Nightcrawler in
Yeah,
the second timeline,
Cody Smith McPhee.
something like that.
Yeah,
I really really liked him as a young Nightcrawler, and I would be okay if they just wanted to bring him over. Other than that, though, I mean, got a fresh start. I think they're obviously waiting a bit to do mutants again to
yeah.
kind of let the dust settle from the monstrosity that Dark Phoenix was, and Apocalypse, and New Mutants.
Apocalypse was all right. I think there are really unredeemable elements.
Hmm.
Notably the scene with Magneto and Quicksilver, and it's like we're like a family, something like that. I can't remember what he says, but I just
Yeah,
remember like wanting to rip my eyes out.
the whole
Um,
movie made me want to rip my eyes out simply because the portrayal of Apocalypse. But again, I'm a comic nerd, right? Somebody that hasn't really read a lot of X-Men comics. I could see it not being a big deal. Oscar Isaac did a fine job with what he was given, but like, dude, Apocalypse was like shorter than most people in the movie.
yeah.
Apocalypse in the comics is like Hulk size. Like he is
Oh shit.
gigantic and like huge. Like this dude is a monster. Like this dude could go hand to hand with the Hulk. And like then we got in the movie, we got little short dude played by Oscar Isaac, which it's fine. But then they
Did
followed it up with Days of Future Past, which is
I know it was the other way around.
was it the other way around?
Yeah, because
Hmm,
Days of
okay.
Future Past's post-credit scene
Oh yeah, and
was
no, yeah, because Days of Future Past reset the timeline. So then it went into the
yeah,
new timeline with
yeah.
Apocalypse. Well, before it, they had the second best X-Men movie. Like X-Men teen movie, because I won't count Logan as an X-Men movie. But yeah. Uh
I think the I'd call it a prequel series, because I'm gonna go back to like what got me into obviously films. First Class and Days of Future Past are the two of my favorite comic book movies of all time.
first class is my favorite X-Men movie.
It is
That is
so
it.
good.
It's so rewatchable.
It's I think I was very lucky. This so 20th Century used to love the same sort of release window for X-Men films, and it would always be that for my birthday we'd go and watch the new X-Men film. So obviously, what was it, 2011,
I think so. I
2014?
think yeah, 2011 was first class, I believe.
And that's obviously it is because of X-Men that I have that connection to superheroes.
Mhm.
But yeah, First Class and Days of Future Past are really, really good. And it is a shame that for the two really good films that you have in that series, you also have the two really bad X-Men
Mhm, mhm.
films.
Yeah.
Um, and especially Dark Phoenix, like
Dark oh my gosh. I
what
feel
went
like
on there?
a lot of it, and I remember reading about it at the time, a lot of Dark Phoenix's problems came from having to rewrite last minute. Because if I believe Dark Phoenix was actually supposed to include the scrolls
Yeah,
in one way or the other, but Captain Marvel came out right before it. and they didn't know that Captain Marvel was going to have scrolls in it.
Yeah.
So then once that happened, they were like, we're going to get like comparisons. People are going to get confused.
Yep.
Like, we can't do this. So they had to like rewrite a lot of the movie that included scrolls, all because Captain Marvel came out. So it may have been a better movie before the rewrites. We'll never know.
Well, it was going to be a 2-part
Yeah,
story,
that
wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah.
It was going to be a two-part story. And for all we know, it could have actually been finally a good live action Dark Phoenix storyline. But it wasn't.
No.
It was honestly, no, it's the worst X-Men movie.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I think I'd put a 5
The
above it.
the train. No, it's not even a train. The transport vehicle scene. Oh, I'm losing my voice. The scene where Thingy shows up, where Jean shows up, and it's all like I can't describe it. It's been a while since I saw the film, but that scene's really good. They threw it in the trailer.
It has its moments and stuff, but I don't know. I also didn't like the way that they portrayed the Phoenix as. I don't like the way that they wrote, and Jessica Chastain is amazing. She's a great actress, and I don't blame her for anything that's happened. But I don't like the way that they portrayed the Phoenix Force, the personification of it, at least in that movie. I don't know. The Phoenix Force is such a big deal in Marvel, and I think a lot of what the X-Men movies have always gotten so wrong about the Phoenix Force is they didn't have the benefit of having all the other Marvel characters in the universe have to be a part of it. It was always secluded to just the X-Men, which again, the Phoenix Force and the Dark Phoenix saga is at the heart of it an X-Men story. But the Dark Phoenix and the Phoenix Force as a whole is such a huge deal that it's an event.
Yeah.
It's an event. Like, when we down the line eventually do one way or another, we will get the Dark Phoenix storyline in the MCU. I have no doubt that it will be a gigantic crossover event. And the way that the Avengers movies are big crossover events for the whole universe now, I don't doubt that they'll do the same thing for some of the X-Men movies too. But yeah, I was really, really disappointed with Dark Phoenix. And I got complete confidence that we'll make up for it, but we got a while before they even try to do Dark Phoenix because we got to set up a lot.
Yeah, I'm sort of glad they've taken a break from the mutants, because I think it's the same effect has been had with the Fantastic Four. Obviously, was it 2015? Fantastic Four came out, or 2014? Yeah. Obviously, by the time we get the film, it will have been. I'm trying to do the maths. It's
almost
been
10 years.
It'll be 9-10 years, yeah.
Okay.
And I think I don't think it'll be 9-10 years until we get the mutants in the MCU. But I think having these extended periods of nothing will really benefit both the audience reaction and the actual. It gives them time, to develop these stories and plan, basically, rather than when the merger happened and Marvel Studios just fast tracking an X-Men film. It would make. Do you know what? It could have been a good film, but I as much as I wanted the X-Men in the MCU then, I didn't want them to rush it. And I'm sort of, obviously, with what's been announced, I can say, yeah, I'm ready for the X-Men after the. I can't even remember what the saga's called. The multiverse saga, yeah. And I'm ready for the Fantastic Four. And it's quite exciting. Obviously, it's a shame Spider-Man isn't fully immersed, but Sony's doing their own thing, and we are able to get Peter Parker in the films. But we've got two big Marvel families on top of what we've already got, and I think that's plenty for now. So yeah,
it's crazy to think about that we're literally going to have the Fantastic Four in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Like, when I think about those, I'm like,
yeah,
we're gonna get all the characters we love. But then I'm like, wait, the Fantastic Four are gonna be in it too. And like it's so crazy to think about that because we haven't even seen them yet, but they're gonna be in it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, oh my gosh, it's actually gonna be so crazy to see the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Like that's Marvel's first family. That's
Yep.
the first team in Marvel. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I want to. Oh, I'm so excited for Fantastic Four.
I have just remembered. Well, I do own. Let me try and find them. I do own comics, but the very first comic I bought. See, my comics are in the worst place. I can't see them, but I do have Civil War 1 and 2, like the volume, whatever you want to call it.
Of the first Civil War.
Both I have Civil War 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
But I remember in 2008, obviously I'd gone to Disney World and Universal, and I can't remember when the second Fantastic Four film came out, but obviously that must have been like my favorite at that time.
I think Rise of the Silver
2007,
Surfer was 2007. Yeah.
and I'd bought a comic. I'd bought a Fantastic Four comic. I could not tell you what issue, what series. I just know I bought one, and it had the scrolls in. So there's a little fun fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have actually bought a comic before, and read one. So, proud moment.
Yeah. I don't even remember. God, what was my first comic I ever bought? God, I want to say it might have been, no, I don't think it was out at that time. The first comic I can remember buying is Marvel Zombies 2. I forgot what issue it was. It's somewhere in here, but I don't want to look for it. But it's Marvel Zombies 2 and it has Zombie Cap on the front. Um, Speaking of Marvel Zombies, yeah, we're getting a show of that, which is beautiful.
I am so excited for that. It was
TVMA. Oh my god.
ah, it
I,
was
I
one. It was genuinely one of my favorite What If
I
episodes.
wish they would bring, I don't think they are unless they decide to do it at a later point, but I wish they would bring Robert Kirkman in for the show as well.
Oh,
Because I don't know if you knew this, Robert Kirkman wrote the original Marvel Zombie stories.
oh shit.
Yeah. So, and that was way before the Walking Dead show was ever a thing. This is when he was just known for making the Walking Dead comic.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he was brought on to write the Marvel Zombie stories. And I think there was three. I think it may have been Marvel Zombies 1 and 2, and then the third one had a subtitle. Um, but yeah, no, I wish they would bring Robert Kirkman on for the actual show, especially now that it's going to be TVMA. He could kind of go crazy with it. Really excited for that. I'm really excited for What If season 2. Yeah, it's 2, but we know there's a third on the way. I really hope they start to tie What If more, especially since it's so multiversal based. I hope they tie What If more into the multiverse saga. Like,
Yeah.
it would be really cool if What If season 2, like at some point, like there's a Kane.
Because they've not really said anything about season 3 yet, but it'd come out in 2024, so it literally puts it perfectly in that area with Secret
Yeah,
Wars on the way. But I wouldn't mind it if it was a more um rather than having a different What If episode. Obviously, still keeping that idea of different universes and loads of interconnected stories, but have one overarching plot, sort of like what they did in the second half
yeah,
of season 1, but have it as a more, I don't know the word, serialized.
yeah, serialized. Yeah,
Yeah. Um and a bit more connected, people popping up and having an actual, like season 3, giving it a subtitle and
that's
making
what I
it,
was saying.
yeah.
Yeah, like give it a
Um
subtitle.
because I think season 1 only grasped upon the idea of what they can do with the show, whilst also still referencing back to those the comic stories.
Yeah,
Because I assume season 2 is gonna play a bit similar to how season 1 did. Um,
yeah. I think we'll get a lot of I think we might get like a sequel episode or two in season
Yeah.
2 as well.
And they've obviously, with Marvel Zombies, they've shown they're not afraid to expand on these universes separately.
Mhm.
And it just seems Marvel are moving more into animation, which is great. So there's so much they could do. Like that Captain Carter show could be animated for all we know.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah, no, Marvel Studios is really, really ramping up the animation to the point now where I mean we got their own panel at Comic Con this year instead of it just being on the regular stage, which is really, really awesome because you know we got X-Men 97, we got Spider-Man freshman year, Marvel Zombies, What If. Um, and those are all really, really fun things to look forward to. And I like the idea that they're keeping the animation separate by all setting them in separate universes and not
Yeah,
setting them in the MCU timeline. But I feel like it's a matter of time until we do get an animated show set in the main MCU timeline. Then now it's just a matter of like, what could it be? Like, what would that show be that you would set in the main MCU timeline that eventually would have to end up showing up in live action?
Deadpool.
Um, oh my gosh, we know
Donald Glover's
yeah,
Deadpool.
Donald Glover's Deadpool that we never got, but that test footage was flawless. I can't believe we never got that. But no, yeah, Deadpool would be really cool. I think the idea of like uh kid focused Marvel things. 'Cause I know for a while there was rumors that Power Pack
I was gonna say,
was
yeah,
gonna
Power Pack
be
could be good.
animated, but it seems like it's never happened. Or like there's been rumors lately of Pet Avengers. Pet Avengers being an animated show would be really cool.
DC
Or
League of Super Pets.
right? Black Adam. Um, but yeah, I just can't get over the fact that The Rock is not letting go of that character no matter where he appears in, except for multiverses. He's not voicing him in multiverses. Or unless there's a skin that he voices that's like the movie skin. But um yeah, I don't know. Just give me more animated stuff. I think I think animation is the best uh what's the word? It's the best form of telling a story.
Not the best
If you
medium.
best medium. Yeah, I think animation is the best medium because you can do whatever you want. You know, you don't got to worry about camera placements or you don't got to worry about this stuff. Like you can literally just do whatever you want. Like it's
Yeah.
just drawn. It's you know, it's modeled. It's whatever. I don't know though.
I will say this is so off topic, but obviously Fortnite have had Marvel collabs in the past. I'm baffled we have yet to receive a Fortnite film or TV
It's
show.
been in the Fortnite film's been in the works
I
for like
think
a year or two now.
I was gonna say I think Sony passed on making a Fortnite film.
Someone picked it up though, because I remember seeing the news all about it. That I mean, there's going to be a
Oh,
Fortnite film eventually.
I was gonna
It's in
say,
development somewhere. I'll look it up real quick.
but no, just the storytelling they've got in the world they've built is it's a bit like Five Nights at Freddy's. Obviously, that film's been in development hell for ages, but it's definitely a
Yeah,
franchise that
but actually, that's picking
is
up now.
speeding
I
up.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here it is, right here. Fortnite movie is in development. To the point where Epic Games has poached numerous executives from Lucasfilm already.
Oh wow.
Yeah, expanding to film and television with a Fortnite movie already in discussion. All I will say is when that movie eventually comes out, it is going to make a stupid amount of money.
Oh yeah.
That
And
movie will make
they
so much money.
if they do it right, yeah, I'm down.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing it opening night. I don't even care. Like, if anybody who like actually has paid attention to like what
What's going on?
the story of
Yeah.
Fortnite is and the lore, like it's a pretty cool story that has to do with like the multiverse, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think could be a really cool idea.
We get
Uh,
a live action appearance of Gino.
Gino, uh,
Geno.
Geno,
Get the Rock.
Jonesy, God, The Rock, yeah, playing the foundation. We could get
All
God,
the Marvel characters just showing up.
Dude, imagine, dude, if they actually do that crossover stuff in the film, I would be mind blown because it has everything. I feel like Fortnite's at the point now where it's like everything's in it. So like if you do a movie, you gotta have you gotta buy licenses for these
Yeah.
characters to be able to use just even in the background.
I'm
But
hoping. I'll just say one last thing quickly. I'm hoping this is just Fortnite related. The next season, because they've had the Marvel comic running whilst this more relaxed season has been happening. I hope it is lore heavy next time around.
yeah, I think something's got to happen at the end of the season that's going to kickstart the story moving forward because this has been the we beat the bad guys, let's have a big party season. So anyway, start talking about Fortnite there at the end of the MCU podcast, but yeah, well no, we'll start a Fortnite podcast soon, talk about the lore.
Woo!
But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, guys. You can visit us at our website at thestreamer.com. All our socials will be in the bio if you want to go check those out and give it a follow. So yeah, that's what they're going to change the podcast name to. So yeah. And I hope you all have a good one.
Bye.